Alright, imagine this. You're cold. Not like I forgot my jacket cold, I mean deep, biting cold. Your hands don't really work anymore. You're tired, maybe a little scared, even if you don't want to admit it. And you reach into your pack for that one thing you know is going to save you. And it doesn't work. Yeah, that moment right there, that's where people get into real trouble. Because here's the thing. Most people don't fail in survival because they had nothing. They fail because they trusted the wrong things. Today I want to talk about 3 survival items that sound good, look good, people swear by them, but when things go bad, they can let you down. Hard. So let's start with one that almost everybody carries. Cheap fire starters. Now don't get me wrong, fire is life out there. Warmth, water, morale, everything. But those little survival lighters or bargain fire starters people throw in their kits, yeah, I've seen those fail more times than I can count. Here's what happens. You're out in the cold, maybe it's wet, maybe your hands are shaking a bit, you flick the lighter. Nothing. You flick again. Still nothing. And now your brain starts doing that thing. You know, that quiet panic creeping in. Why isn't this working? What most people don't realize is cheap lighters hate cold. Fuel pressure drops, ignition weakens, and suddenly that thing you trusted, useless. And ferro rods, same story if you've never practiced. People think, oh yeah, sparks text fire. No. Sparks plus skill equals fire. Big difference. This is where most people mess up. They assume gear replaces practice. It doesn't. I've seen people sit there for 20 minutes throwing sparks onto damp tinder, getting nowhere, burning energy they can't afford to lose. And energy, that's survival currency. Spend too much of it, you don't get it back. What actually works? Redundancy. Real redundancy. Carry multiple fire methods. A good lighter, waterproof matches, a ferro rod you've actually used before, not just once in your backyard when everything was dry and easy, and prep your tinder before you need it, because when things go bad, your hands won't cooperate like they do at home. Now, second one. This one surprises people. Water filters. Yeah, everyone loves water filters, and sure, they're amazing tools when they work, but here's where it gets dangerous. Most filters can freeze, and once they freeze, even a little, they can crack inside. You won't see it, you won't hear it, but now, it's not filtering properly anymore, and you drink from it thinking you're safe. That's a bad place to be, because getting sick in a survival situation, that's a downward spiral. Fast. Dehydration, weakness, confusion, suddenly small problems turn into big ones. And here's the part people don't think about. When you're exhausted, cold, maybe scared, you're not going to question your gear. You're going to trust it. That's the trap. I remember one night, this was years ago, temperature dropped way lower than expected. I had a filter in my pack, thought nothing of it. Next morning, I picked it up and just paused. Something felt off. That hesitation, that little gut feeling, yeah, listen to that. Because if I had used that filter without thinking, I could have made things a lot worse for myself. So what do you do instead? Protect your filter like it matters, because it does. Keep it close to your body in cold conditions, inside your jacket, even when you sleep. And always have a backup method. Boiling, tablets, something. Because relying on a single system, that's how people get caught off guard. Alright, number 3. And this one, people don't like hearing it. Emergency blankets. Those shiny foil ones. You know exactly what I'm talking about. They're everywhere. Cheap, lightweight, seem like a no-brainer. And look, they do have their place. But people overestimate them. Big time. Here's what usually happens. Someone gets cold, pulls out the blanket, wraps up, and expects it to magically warm them up. It doesn't. It reflects heat. If you're not producing much heat to begin with, there's not much to reflect. And if it's windy, good luck. Those things tear. They flap. They're loud as hell too, which sounds minor, but when you're already stressed, that constant noise can mess with your head more than you'd expect. I've seen people get frustrated, like genuinely frustrated, because it's not doing what they thought it would. And frustration leads to bad decisions. That's where it gets dangerous. You start rushing, moving too much, sweating. Now you're wet and cold. That's a bad combo. So what's the move here? Use emergency blankets as a layer, not a solution. Pair them with insulation, real insulation. Even something simple like dry leaves, pine needles, or spare clothing makes a huge difference. And block the wind first. Always. Wind will steal your heat faster than almost anything else. You see the pattern here? It's not that these items are useless. It's that people expect too much from them at the worst possible moment. And when they fail, or even just underperform, it hits harder because you weren't ready for it. That mental hit, that hesitation, that's what gets people. I've been there, by the way. That moment where something doesn't go how you planned, and you feel that little spike of uh-oh. You don't want a lot of those moments stacking up. So if you take anything from this, keep it simple. Don't trust gear you haven't tested. Don't rely on one solution, and don't assume things will work the same way when you're tired, cold, or under pressure. Because they won't. Practice when it's inconvenient. Try lighting a fire when your hands are cold. Try setting things up when it's windy. That's the kind of stuff that actually prepares you. At the end of the day, survival isn't about having the perfect kit. It's about understanding what can go wrong before it does. Because when you're out there and things start slipping, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on what you already know. And if what you know is based on assumptions, that's a problem. So yeah, carry your gear, just don't trust it blindly. Because the moment you need it most, that's exactly when it's most likely to fail.